All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and sometimes these wineries that no one's ever heard of. We do events here in the store. I mean, we had 7 people for this event. 8 bottles of wine. I like those odds. And what a great evening, an intimate evening here with Manuele Verdelli, who is the manager of this estate. It's owned by an American, started in 1974 and sold a decade and a half later. And, this is a guy that owns hotels, so he pretty much lets Manuele and the winemaker there run the property. They've got 5 rooms. And, those of you that attended this event, you're going to get extra at our Wine Watch events. And, offer to give you your first night free at the estate if you want to go and stay there. So, a lot of these small estates have got agriturismo, great places if you want to go and visit the Tuscan countryside to stay at. And the wines here are fantastic. This is in Gaiola in Chianti, and these guys make just 4 wines, but all of them at the very top level of quality, including the Chardonnay, which there's not much Chardonnay in Tuscany, but hey, man, if you're going to make a white wine, I think it's a better choice than the local Trebbiano varietal. It makes a more interesting wine and a more age-worthy wine anyways. This 2008, still doing very nicely here. This wine, reminiscent of a white Burgundy on the nose, having some plenty matchsticky kind of nose, some mineral highlights there to the ripe peach and pear fruit, notes of candied quince. You get 500 meters of elevation above sea level, so the wine's got wonderful freshness, a really nice, smooth and creamy texture, nice richness on the tongue with bright, zesty acidity finishing things up, really rich and lively, and excellent bottle of Chardonnay, and $44. These wines are not cheap. They only make 7,000 cases of wine total, all estate-grown fruit here. So very high-quality wines. Like I said, everything they make at the top end of quality. The 2010 Chardonnay, very different from the 2008s. Although the winemaking process exactly the same, just the style of this vintage. Very forward lemon drop candy fruit, kind of hints of new oak spice, that vanilla, cinnamon notes, that really nice creamy mouthfeel in this wine. Also, though, really both of these wines have lovely richness, and this wine finishes really fresh here. Maybe just not quite as complex as the 2008, and that has to do with bottle age. I'm guessing this one, with a couple years in the bottle, is really going to come together nicely, but an excellent bottle of Chardonnay as well. The 2007 Riserva Chianti Classico in 2010 were the 2 next wines, and you really notice a big difference in these 2 wines, and maybe it's the blend, but it's got to have to do with the vintage also. 2007 had a little bit of Cannaiolo and Colorino in the blend. Both of these wines from Gaiola in Chianti, and a good amount of wild strawberry fruit here. You get that from Sangiovese, notes of button mushrooms, fresh herbs, and fresh plowed earth. Really typical Tuscan bouquet. Really nice fresh berry fruit here, showing silky smooth tannins on the tongue and a zesty finish. Notes of that herbal and that earthy note showing through the finish. This wine could last another decade or more. Really nice balance in this wine in 2007. The 2010, quite a bit lighter. This was a cooler vintage and really pretty strawberry and red cherry fruits with nice floral notes. You didn't notice the earthy characteristics in this wine as much, but lighter, floral, and really nice nuance in this wine. I thought it was an excellent bottle of Chianti Classico. Also in the blend, 100% Sangiovese. They took the other grape varietals out of it. Some of my favorites Chianti Classicos are 100% Sangiovese, Falto di Falsina being 2 of them. Anyways, the 2000 Capannelle Solare up next. This wine was made exclusively for Enoteca Pinchioi for the first, until 1996. The first 6 or 8 vintages. The 2000, a lighter style vintage. This wine really drinking nicely, but I think all of the wines on the table, this one showing the most maturity. This wine is a blend of 80% Sangiovese, 20% Malvasia Nero, which is a local varietal, and this wine has a certain wild kind of character to it, and these wines all showing that textbook kind of sage and wild underbrush that you get from the Tuscan countryside here in the nose, and the 2000 just very smooth and soft. The 2001, a lot of people's wine of the night. This is a classic vintage, really well built, solid core of dark berry, dark plum fruits, earth, espresso, mocha, exotic floral nuance, really complex bouquet, really good structure on the palate. This one's got tannins, but starting to smooth out a little bit, but still quite youthful here. A lot of red berry fruits and all that nuance from the nose showing on the finish. Wonderful, drinking nicely right now, but still's got a decade to go. Most excellent juice. The 2004 met to mixed reviews. It was a few people's least favorite wine on the table. I think 2004 is an outstanding vintage. I like this wine just as much as the 2001. You could tell it needed a little more time, though. Not quite as showy as the 2001. A little black licorice spice, black earth, truffle, black cherry fruit, black plum. Really complex bouquet. Thick and juicy on the tongue. This wine had layers of fruit and that black licorice spice and the truffle nuance and firm acidity here, still holding everything really nicely in place. This wine needs a bit more time. The 2005, a bit more enticing here on the nose and on the palate. Really forward, a little darker berry fruit, that fresh earth and porcini mushroom and sage nuance really showing through in this wine nicely. Very smooth and silky on the tongue. Like I said, one of the better drinking wines. That in the 2000 really showing nicely. And then the money wine. That's right, we have to have a wine for those people that say, do you have anything better than Solare? Well, 50-50 is more expensive. I don't know if it's better, but it's a unique wine. It's a concept where the owners of this winery, Capannelle, were sitting with the owners of Avegnanesi, and they make a fantastic Merlot there called Desiderio. And it's like, hey, you mixed my peanut butter with your chocolate. And someone at the table said, hey, let's try what this would be like to blend the Sangiovese and the Merlot together. And they tried it, and they said, man, this is pretty good. We should make a wine like this. And that is how this wine was born. I don't know of any other wine like it, really. They take Merlot from Cortona, which is right next to the Chianti Classico appellation, and they blend it with Sangiovese, 50% of each, and the best fruit supposedly from every vintage. So I guess there are years they make a lot less of this. I don't know if there are years they don't make it at all because they don't get, fruit that they feel is up to the standard of a $150 bottle of wine. But this wine, very different from the other wines on the property. You notice a more international style, and even though it was the youngest wine on the table, I think it was still drinking nice. Really smooth and polished wine. And like I said, just very, very different than the other wines. Merlot, more international style variety. But I really like this wine. I don't know if it's any better than Solare. For 3 times the price, I'd rather have 3 bottles of Solare 2001. All right, that's what we had to drink with our friend Manuele from Capannelle Winery in Tuscany. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off from the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.